Okay, I've been in California for a couple of days now. Took the wheel centers and delivered them, hand delivered them. Was terrified to send them in the mail for fear they'd get lost in Los Angeles in that mess where people are stealing everything off the rail cars. So it's a beautiful sunny day, a little cool, but we're gonna go ahead and put these things together and show you exactly what these things are built to match, and how to complete the project. This is how I put them together so that they'd be safe in shipment. Just made a couple of little standoffs out of some stainless tubing and a little bit of all thread and some nuts, and spaced the faces apart. That way, if anything did come loose in my luggage, it still wouldn't affect the finished side, just the back side, which isn't super critical. But that's how it was shipped. Fingerprints all over it.
Alright, so these go.
I think they both just stack right on top. We fit this in from, valve core out, right. And
Stay there.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we purchased, Shawn purchased. These are Shawn's wheels, and they're going on, like I said, they're going on a Mustang that's in the chassis shop right now. And describe for us what this car is going to be someday.
So it started out as a NHRA stock eliminator car. Actually, before that, it was a Florida State Highway Patrol car, black and tan. VIN number verified. I forget which county it was out of, but started out as that, and then was turned into a NHRA stock eliminator car, which me and Greg did a ton of work on.
At one time was a record-holding car.
Yep, close to, yeah. It was I think we ran 1179 was the quickest pass it made. If you're not familiar with stock eliminator stuff, it's a pretty challenging class. Lots of rules and restrictions, but in a nutshell, stock 5-liter Mustang, stock E7s, heads, unported HO intake, throttle body, stock duration or stock lift on the cam with a whole ton of duration. Had a Doug Nash 5-speed in it, and
Very
513 gears, and
very similar transmission to what we have sitting right back over here.
yeah, that's a clutchless GF5R.
This is a clutch. Of course, you can't run a clutchless in stock eliminator.
Yeah.
But the race car that Shawn's building, that these wheels are going on, it's been a multi-year project because not made of money over here, but
Life gets in the way.
life gets in the way. Kids, who knows what, everything, jobs. You are retired military.
Yep.
Done your share of duty overseas, Korea, and everywhere else. But the race car was going to be a streetable, loose term, but it's moved into more of a. I think you're going to run
Small tire, heads up, no time, maybe X275 down the road.
nice turboed Coyote.
Yep.
With a power glide. So these wheels are going on that car. So purchase these rim halves, these spun formed rim halves. Real common, 3-piece wheels use these. 40 bolts per. The outside one is defined by the valve core. It's going to go through that hole right there. It's a little bit narrower than the back one, but the rim half will feed in from the back side. The wheel halves will sit proud on this face right here, and the bolts will run through and pinch the whole mess together. So we'll go ahead and line these up and get some bolts started. See what we got. So here we can see one little side of the wheel kind of assembled, and how the face is going to now be flush with what we cut. The bolt runs through right there, and what we didn't want was a whole bunch of bolts sticking out the back, and that would be an issue if you're handling the wheel. It could cut your hand. It's just extra weight we don't need. The whole goal of Shawn's in building this crazy car is weight. It's going to be extremely light. So I mean, granted, cutting a 1/4 inch off these bolts only saved us about a quarter pounder. Every little bit matters, and when you can take off a 1/4 pound here and there, eventually it adds up. A lot of people might not ever experience this in their lives, but these are titanium washers. And Shawn loaded up a whole series of these things, all 40 of them, to put this wheel half together, or wheel, put the rim halves together into the wheel, and we put washers on there. Now, a lot of times, especially in the machining world, when I hold something down with a washer, a regular old stamped washer has two different sides. When the press comes through and slams against the sheet of material, it makes a sharp side on the back side. And when I hold parts down and I don't want to damage the surfaces, a lot of times I'll flip the washer upside down and use the side that doesn't have the sharp to rest against my finished material. In this case, these fancy titanium washers are fully machined. So we can almost guarantee that they have a very even thickness, and they have no sharp side. All edges are broken on these things, kind of hard to see, but they're absolutely beautiful. So now we got a torque wrench, and we're gonna run around this thing. And how do we decide on torque? Because we're kind of in uncharted territory here. We just go by the size of bolt, and again, all we're trying to do is stretch the bolt. So the same torque applies no matter what case you're using. How long the bolt is, what it's going through. Torque is torque because we're trying to stretch a bolt. It's a known quantity. So Shawn did find a torque spec for other 5/16 bolts in a similar application, so we're just going with that. So we're going to make a pass around 40 of these bolts at a lower torque spec. I think we got 15 dialed into it. And then we'll bring it down to the final torque. We Loctited with blue Loctite, all the bolts. So the finished number we're shooting for is 18. And we'll go around one more time. Looks like he's getting just barely a 1/16 of a turn more.
Wheels turning.
Just a squeak. And that's kind of a good feeling because we know that those fancy titanium bolts are not like stretching like crazy. So there's the finished product. Got all the fingerprints wiped up, got the center cap in. Lug nuts, contrast cut, I believe those are Team Z parts. Needs a valve core, and we're going to have to use a bolt-in valve core for NHRA stuff. And now we have to go ahead and figure out how to seal this. And in all the years that I've built wheels for motorcycles, spoked wheels have spoke nipples coming through. And I've done some really awful inch-thick gobs of silicone around here and rode just fine at 100 miles an hour, no problem. So what we're going to do is just a real fine layer of pure silicone in here. Just fill a bead in there and probably smooth it out and send it. So these rim halves have a smooth lip. I don't know how well that's coming through on this video, but not necessarily something you commonly see on a drag car with this fancy smooth lip, real clean looking. And you can see on the inside not only the fact that this surface is completely machined, so they're very accurate, but you can also see how that lip is actually rolled around, so it's double strength right here. These won't be the absolute lightest thing you can put on a car, but they will be strong. We're sure of that. Trial and error. We don't know what we're doing, but it looks like a foam brush is the way to go. Put a big bead in there and then just run a foam brush down. Well, here's the back side of the wheel, and you can see now why we spent the extra time to cut the bolts down. We're flush, absolutely flush. Maybe just feeling maybe 10th thou proud. But that's what we're after. If that was sticking through 1/4 of an inch, every time you grab this wheel, you know, trying to clean the backside with a rag or something, you'd be cutting your fingers all up. And we just don't need to sling that extra weight around. So that's what something proper looks like. Here's the March of '52 restored Wilton vise that we made a little spacer for to tighten up this back cone. And I can put a link to that video somewhere up here. I'm kind of tying myself down to doing something I'm not sure I know how to do, but we'll try and do that. But here's the finished product, a restored 70-year-old vise. Pretty nice piece. And then over here we've got the finished wheel. Got a layer of silicone to seal it up for air gap or air leaks. And here they are. Again, these are copies made to look like a sander wheel. Sander Engineering makes beautiful wheels, Top Fuel dragsters and World of Outlaw sprint cars. And this piece is going on Shawn's car. So that's it right there. I'll go ahead and also try to throw links for the other 2 videos for at least the cutting of the contrast cut for the wheels. There's a couple videos that precede this, and again I'll try to throw the links up there. And that's going to be it from California.